Congressman, when you see this out there, these are people of Minnesota that are police officers. They're attacking people that are their own neighbors and friends and loved ones. But what's your reaction to this?
Well, what a difference 20 minutes makes. You know, inside the arena just a few minutes ago was really lifting up and honoring the law enforcement and giving them the respect that they're due. And yet outside a few minutes later, you have it appears to be just hostility towards law enforcement and really an unruly crowd. Listen, this is all about making sure that they can try to intimidate future Trump rally supporters and goers, and that's just not going to happen, Jason. You know, you've seen this time and time again. You've covered it. We need to make sure that we respect our law enforcement and those that are seeking to keep people safe. You know, freedom of expression does not mean that you can turn to violence to accommodate your cause.
No, and this is, I think, going to be a major theme in the election. Donald Trump has taken a position that's very pro-law enforcement. Certainly, as you look at ICE and immigration issues out there, you've seen the Democrats want to abolish ICE. They certainly have been supportive of them. They have been calling them all kinds of names across the way. But I got to tell you, I think you're going to see this. I mean, this election is still more than a year away, and you're seeing what kind of violence will want to break out. For people who are trying to express their First Amendment rights, the mayor in this situation certainly didn't happen. What was your reaction when you heard what the mayor was saying about Trump's pending visit?
Well, the mayor was an unbelievable partisan instead of a public servant. And when you look at him trying to charge for security detail far and above what previous events have been charged, you know, I think it just the American people see it for what it is. It's, you know, a city mayor that didn't vote for this president, or probably didn't vote for this president, and certainly not supportive of him, trying to make a political point instead of serving the public, not only there in Minneapolis, but we see that across the country. So what we need to make sure of is we take that message of freedom and hope to all Americans from coast to coast, from Maine to Florida, and from New York to California and in between, and that we show them the difference. You know, the vast majority of America respects law enforcement, appreciates the rule of law, and do not endorse lawlessness.
Well, and I think this is going to be one of the issues. I think what they're trying to do is suppress people from coming out. They're trying to embarrass people, make them feel shameful for coming out and supporting Trump in numbers. But I got to tell you, the people that I know in the Midwest and across this country aren't going to be shut down by a bunch of Antifa members and some other hoodlums who would be out there and trying to suppress the basic human right of participating in an election and being able to express themselves. Congressman, I got one other thing. I've got to shift gears a little bit about the whistleblower. There's a discussion now about whether or not this so-called whistleblower, and I don't know if you can use that term accurately, but as a whistleblower, should this person have to testify in person, or should they do what is being considered, which is allow them to just testify based on written questions?
No, listen, Jason, you have experience with this. You were the chairman of the Oversight Committee, and you had jurisdiction over whistleblowers and that whistleblower protection. The reason why there's a statute is so when they become public that they don't get retaliated against. You know, to have an anonymous ask questions via written correspondence, it's just not what our government is set up to do. If the whistleblower wants to come forward, they need to be identified. They need to have protection, but at the same time, they need to be cross-examined to see what their motivation. You know, we're learning tonight that there's particularly a bias, potentially a bias from a partisan standpoint. So we need to make sure we hear directly from them. All
right, let's go back and talk about, I don't know, Congressman, if you have the feedback to be able to see these pictures that we're able to see here on camera. But what we haven't seen yet are the Trump supporters coming out of the building. You have the cameras there showing protesters. You see people in masks. People can wear masks if they want, but they don't seem to be, hey, friendly, welcome to Minneapolis. Certainly the police don't feel that way. I don't know if you can see what's happening here, but What's your reaction when these pictures come across?
Well, listen, it's not the welcome wagon for sure. And as you see that, listen, when we have this kind of activity and this kind of hostile activity, it's really not what our country was founded upon. It was, the freedom to express ourselves. We need to make sure that we do that, but we need to do it in a civil manner. That's not what we're seeing work out on the streets of Minneapolis tonight.
Congressman, thank you so much for bearing with us. We appreciate your thoughts.